Hello and welcome to the 200th episode of the Brian Hornback Experience, coming to you from the Old Forge Distillery Podcast Studio. As always, we got the American flag, we got the Old Forge, we got Kaz Walker, who this year will be his March 23rd is his 123rd birthday, I believe. And of course, JB, the Go Bigs Go Home Knox County Trustee race. Coming up on May the 5th. We're going to talk about BONAFIDEs. You know, I wish I'd have queued it up. BONAFIDEs, from one of my favorite movies is Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, right? And when he finds his girls and finds out that mom has a new beau, the girls tell him that he's bona fide. Anyway, so that's what I think about when I think about bona fides. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the Tennessee Republican Party's rules for being a candidate. There's been a lot of misinformation, primarily because of that lack of an investigative team at the daily paper. But there's been a lot of things that have been said since petitions became available in December. For the local races back in December, one of the political consultants took to writing a op-ed in the daily paper saying this was a new rule. No, this is not a new rule. This rule's been in existence since about 2018. I recall being at the Hampton Inn off of Merchants Road, packed in there with Glenn Jacobs, his campaign manager. This was all before the 2018 election. And Don Ridings, Justin Lafferty. I've got video of all these folks talking in this small room at the Hampton Inn off of Merchants Road. And they were talking about what it takes in order to be a Republican, to be accepted on the Republican ballot. Let's remember, Republican Party and the Democrat Party are private organizations. Yes, they serve a governmental role, but as far as access to the ballot, that's controlled by the one man, one woman from every state Senate district that make up the state executive committee. For those of you that are just now getting involved in this, there's 33 state Senate districts in the state of Tennessee, one man and one woman, 66 people. That are the state executive committee, and we hire one person, and that's the state chairman. But before 2018, Julia Hurley was on the state executive committee along with Scott Smith. They represented Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally's district. Ted Hatfield and Jane Chedester represented District 6, I believe. Jane might have been in District 7 at that point. And I'm not sure... 18. Yeah, before that, I don't remember who the man was. Maybe Ken Gross. Anyway, there was somebody else. Okay, so they passed these rules. And so Julia Hurley was the one that actually got up and spoke on behalf of the state executive committee. The state chairman, Scott Golden, was there. And they talked about it. And they went around the room and they had everybody who was thinking about being a candidate explain why they felt like they were Republicans. And then candidate Glenn Jacobs said, he's a Republican, he's conservative. Anyway, and so there was never any challenges. And then let's fast forward to 2021. But back then, if you'll remember in 2018, and what came to head in 2020 was the issue of somebody wanting to run for state executive, wanted to run for state representative, who in the same month that they got their nominating petition to run for state rep, they also voted in the Democrat primary. Well, the state executive committee voted to not place that person on the ballot. But the way the rules were written in 2020, 3 elected officials could vouch. They could vouch for someone to be a Republican. And so there were 3 elected officials here in Knox County that vouched for that person to be placed on the ballot. And so that person was placed on the ballot by the state chairman. And then after that person won by 99 votes, it was contested by the one that got 99 votes less. And that went to And the SEC then kept that person on the ballot. They served 2 years, 1 term in the state legislature, and then they opted not to run. And then that's when Elaine Davis decided to run, and Elaine got elected to that seat. So that was 20 going into 22. So there was a vacancy in State Senate District 6. Myself and former Chair Randy Pace presented ourselves to the State Executive Committee, and I was given the appointment from 21 to 22. And then, of course, I ran in 22 and was elected to a 4-year term, so I'll be back on the ballot again August the 6th of this year. But my first meeting in 21, August of 21, I think it was about the 14th or 17th of August, we voted on filing fees. Here's the problem. So many people decide they want to run for county commission, they want to run for school board, they want to run for county mayor, they want to run for register of deeds, and they've never done anything in the party. But they want to run on our Republican ballot, right? So we felt like, and I was in some of the discussions prior to me becoming the committee man in August of 21. And, you know, I do go along with the fact that, you know what, if you're going to represent our brand on the ballot and you're going to say that you're Republican, then you should put some skin in the game. And in politics, putting skin in the game is money. And it's not a lot of money. I mean, for state senate, you got to put $1,000 in. For a countywide race, you got to put $250 in. For county commission, I think you got to put, I think it's $100 now. Anyway, and school board, the same as county commission. All right, so you got to put some money in. You got filing fee, right? You're out there raising money to get your message out. You're buying signs. You're buying ads, you're doing everything you got to do. So a nominal charge in order to carry the Republican brand. Okay, so we did that in 21. And then in December of 25, we're talking about like 2 months ago, we had already had this, you need to be 2 out of 4. We'd already set the parameters back in 21 that we base your voting record on the last 4 state and federal primaries. I've explained this before, but the reason we do that is because some counties don't all have partisan elections. But in Tennessee, state and federal is always by party. So that's what we're going to grade you on. We're going to grade you. All that means is you need to show up right now in order to be considered. You have to have voted in August of 24, March of 24, the presidential primary, August of 22, and August of 20, right? After 26, 20 will drop off, and we'll count August of 26, August of 24, March of 24, and August of 22. So it's continual to go. So if you don't get, if your voting record is not great, you can catch up pretty quick. So that's the rationale. So 3 out of 4, hard stop. We passed that. And you can make your case to the state executive committee members and the state chairman for why you should be on the ballot. Let's go back 2 years ago and talk about Garrett Holt, 4th District. The way the rules set up, and this investigative whatever at the Daily Paper doesn't bother to ask relevant questions, but had she asked some relevant questions, she would ask, who decides in like a district race? Countywide, it's all 6 SEC members that are in Knox County along with the state chairman. But in district races, it's only the SEC members that represent that district. So when you've read for the last several days, the Daily Paper, all 12 of you that read it today, when you read that the state executive committee granted something for a school board candidate, keep in mind that that's not all 6. That was only the SEC members from the 5th and the 7th. That's Lieutenant Governor McNally's district, and that's Senator Briggs' district. A majority of those 5, the 4 committee members and the state chairman, so 3 of those 5 had to have listened to Leanne Eves and felt compelled to waive her to allow her on the ballot. So now instead of 2 Republicans on the ballot, because Kevin Crato, who's been running for a while, he was bona fide. Terry Summers was bona fide. Leanne had missed, I don't remember, 1 or 2. I've got her voting record here somewhere, but she had missed a couple. But she had made the compelling statement and gave those people, those 4 plus the state chairman, to convince at least 3 of them that, and she might have convinced all 5. I don't know. I haven't asked what the vote was. We don't share what the votes are. Once the majority is achieved, we move on. So now, and so I'm not going to get into it. It's not my district. Hardin Valley and Karnes is a long way from Senate District 6, which is the district I serve. And so we weren't involved in that. Jane Chedester and I weren't involved in that one, right? So for whatever reason she's on there, great. More power to her. We had a lot of discussion about the other 2, Michael Bear and Matthew Parsons. The votes just weren't there. A majority vote just wasn't there. We also heard the challenge on Larson J. For having donated to Obama back some time ago. And so I think the only person I think that the Daily Paper has got quotes from is Kent Morrell. Kent has served for finishing up 4th year in 1 term, and he's running for state senate against Dr. Briggs. And so I think that's the only person that I saw that had quotes about the actions we had taken. So I explain all that to explain to you that when you read the paper, when you read certain news reports, they don't really know. If they ask the right questions, they get the right answer. But obviously, as busy people as we are, I have a regular job. I have the podcast, a blog. I have a lot of other things going on. But we're not going to spoon feed these 20-year-olds the information. They need to look at our bylaws. They need to understand our bylaws. They need to understand that the challenge that was made for Larson J., one reason the challenge was the challenge really didn't make it was quoting things from our bylaws that's not actually in our bylaws. They were items that were discussed in December of 25, but we didn't take action to put that into the bylaws. Okay, so it's a lot, and if you don't live in the bubble, if you've not been involved in the bubble very long, then it's easy to miss a few things. Sadly, when your job is an investigative reporter and your job is to find it out, how it works, why it works, and you don't ask the right questions, then you wind up with what we have, right? So anyway, all that to say, I really just wanted to explain it to you. If you got questions, drop them. Drop them on the YouTube video. Drop them on the blog, the megabullhornetruth.com. You can also get there by just going to brianhornback.com. Yeah. So I just really wanted to clear up the whole BONAFIDE thing. I've been thinking about it for about a week or so now. And then, you get, again, the Joel Christopher's reporter, Joel Christopher being the head honcho of the empty building up there. I don't think they care. I think as long as they can sell some newspapers and have some digital subscriptions and they sold that building now, so now they're renting that building up there, the big metal shed on the hill. So it is what it is. But anyway, appreciate y'all tuning in to the Brian Hornback Experience, episode 200. We've hit 200 now. Got Kaz in the back. Go Bigs, Go Home. We got the Old Forge Distillery Podcast Studio. And if you're in the Pigeon Forge area, go by and see my friends at Old Forge Distillery. They got some new stuff out, and check them out. And if you do, participate in adult elixirs. Don't drive and be responsible. All right. Gasoline and Vertebrate. Obviously, our music coming in and going out. This tune is off of their project called Crash and Burn and Burn and Burn. It was out in 24, and this is the tune Moved to Knoxville. And we have their permission.